Welcome back to another episode of Magic's in the Mess, the go-to podcast for ambitious women ready to stop pretending, start aligning, and finally build success your way. I'm your host, Danielle McKinley, speaker, business and wealth strategist, and your go-to problem-solving hype girl. Here, we'll help you unlock powerful mindset shifts, discover your magic, and bring your dream life into reality. Each week, I'll deliver raw stories, proven business strategies, and powerful transformations with industry leaders to activate the magic in you. So if you're ready to ditch the pressure, the performative BS, and the noise telling you who you should be, hit subscribe and let's make some magic. Friends, welcome back to another episode of Magic's in the Mess. Today's conversation is one I'm super excited about because it's with someone I've had the privilege of watching grow in real time. And her name is Jennifer Carlson. She is a realtor. She's in Pinehurst. She is the expert of Pinehurst. And she recently started a podcast called the Haunted Realtor Podcast, all about ghost experiences in homes, which I think is such a fun niche. But the reason I wanted to bring her on the show today actually has nothing to do with real estate. Over the last 2 months inside the mastermind that we're both in, I've watched Jennifer really lean into doing the work on herself. And if you've ever done work or personal growth and that type of work, you know that it's not glamorous. It's actually uncomfortable and it can be super confronting. And sometimes it feels like your whole world is getting shaken up before it starts to make sense again. So I've watched Jennifer do this, show up with honesty, courage, and in the process, I think there's something really powerful about sharing the journey because a lot of people listening are probably in the same season right now. So today we're going to talk about what it actually looks like to start doing the work on yourself, why that process isn't always easy, and how it changes the way that you show up in life. So Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Danielle.
I am so excited. And we were just chatting before we got started, and she's already sharing some fun stories that I can't wait to get to. But before we do that, over the last 2 months, we've been inside this mastermind, right? And
Yep.
we've done some uncomfortable things together. We've done some crying together. We've done some, hey, let's get into it type stuff. So what made you realize you needed to make a shift inside?
Hmm. Okay, so brutally honest. Have you ever met somebody that they're not all together, they're not very smart, and they're way further than you are, and you can't figure it out? You're like, I don't get it, right?
Yeah.
That was really my shift. Um,
Mm.
and I hate the way that sounds because obviously I don't want to sound like a dream crusher, like a jerk, right? But yeah, I own a real estate boutique in North Carolina, very small, and I work very hard. And I believe that like you have to embrace the community and really, really spend time getting to know the person who's purchasing a home so that they end up in a community that they truly feel like they belong. I work
Mhm.
way too hard. And I would look around over the last few years after doing like real estate coaching, which
Yeah.
it's okay, but I feel like if you're really going to grow, you have to be surrounded by other people you normally would not be in a room with. And so I would look around and I would be surrounded by the same real estate agents. And some of them I would just be like, gosh, that person's like the biggest idiot I ever met. And they're so much further ahead of me. And you're not supposed to think that way. Right. And so I met Barb from the council
Okay.
through one of these real estate groups, and I took her courses, and I saw what she was doing, and I
Yeah.
went to her be seen, and I really let myself be present. And I was surrounded by these amazing people like doctors, lawyers, um, models, marketing experts, podcast experts, all of these people I don't ever get to be surrounded by because I'm in real estate and pretty much what I do is who I'm with and it's all about real estate. And I said, wow, she's onto something. She's bringing
Yeah.
these women together who are high caliber from all walks of life and they're excelling in their businesses. And I'm like, these are the people I want to be around.
Mhm.
So I went to Minted Wealth and just it was even higher level. There were so many more people because when I went to the Be Seen retreat, it was small, and then when I got to Mented, there's, like, hundreds of people in this room
Mhm.
who I would never be around in my town, and
Sure.
I thought, "Okay, I need more of this," you know? And, Barb curated this group of 30 people, and I said, "I'm gonna do that." Like, I'm all in, and if I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna pay for it, then I better get something out of it because I'm
Yeah.
spending the time. And so at that point, I joined the council and I have been open. I have made sure to make myself open to all of the feedback and the help that's coming my way so that I
Yeah.
really get something out of it.
Yeah, it's been so fun to, like, grow and watch alongside you too. And I think that's something really important that you said that I think can be super powerful for someone listening is that you noticed that it was you that needed to change,
Mhm.
right? You weren't playing the victim, you weren't making it about other people or poor me. You were like, "I need to get out of this environment. I need to make a shift so that something good can happen," and it already is. What's been, like, the hardest part about looking inward and making some changes?
Oh, the hardest part is being honest with myself. The lies that I've told myself over the years. So one of the lies is, I'm a bad mom if I
Yeah.
don't pick my kids up from school every day, right? Like, simple things. I
Yeah.
know it's not profound, but these are the little things that happen to me daily that I think about that have shaped the way I live, and then realizing that I've been telling myself lies. So one is I'm gonna be a bad mom if I hire someone to shuffle my kids to their sports, because if I'm missing their sports practices, then I'm not being there for them, then I'm a bad mom, right?
Yes.
So or leaving out of town for a week. My family cannot function without me.
Mhm.
I am the greatest there ever was. They're not gonna survive. And that's a lie, right?
Yeah.
Because they'll be fine. They may cry, but moms out there, like, sometimes you just need to get away and it's okay. And so I lied to myself about that. Or, if I don't cook home cooked meals every night, which I do, by the way, then I'm less of a mother. I'm less of a
Mm.
wife. So it was really being honest with myself and saying, like, having those hard conversations, like, you have been lying to yourself. The biggest lie, and I would say this is gonna sound really effed up, but I have resented my kids for years because I chose a life to be married to military who has been gone
Yeah.
majority of their life, so I have always been the constant,
Mhm.
and I blamed my kids for not being further in my career
Yeah.
because that was my excuse. I have 4 kids, I can't do that. I have 4 kids, I can't leave for a week. I have 4 kids, I can't spend $25,000 to be a part of this amazing group who is getting shit done. Like,
Yeah.
it's been excuses, and I
True.
put them all, um, out there, a and I have stood by them. And so, joining the council, I think one of the big opening, like, eye openers would be that a lot of these women are mothers, and a lot of them have the same frustrations or resentments or shortfalls that I have. The difference
Right.
is they embrace it and figure out how to get through it by getting help. And so said it's stop making excuses and just find the help. So
Yeah.
simple applications would be um I'm now having 3 meals a week delivered. It doesn't seem like much, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I don't have to cook. They deliver it on Tuesday, it goes in the fridge. It's all in throwaway containers, which I feel terrible about because I recycle, and we don't spend 2.5 hours cooking and cleaning up.
Yeah. More
It's more
quality time.
enjoyable.
Mhm. No, I love it, and something you said really stuck out at me when I first asked you this question is you were like, "I know it's not profound." And it is profound because it's so relatable, because so many of us are having these same thoughts and feelings, and I feel like that is what is so powerful about in-person connection, is you get to see, oh, and challenge the lie because 'cause you're like, "Well, she's not using that as an excuse, so why am I?" And it
Mhm.
almost helps you see it. So if you're listening to this right now and you've been wanting to make a change in your life, hear what she's saying. It's okay to feel those things, but it's also like you. It comes down to you. You have the answers, you have the capability, you get to make the change. And when you do, you start to like, have you found yourself asking, like, gosh, why did I wait so long to get meals delivered? Or why did I wait so long to outsource X?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like the tough
what?
conversations, right? And then you have them and you're like, that wasn't so bad. Why did I like waste so much time thinking about that and spiraling? And then I did it and it wasn't so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
wild.
so weird. And you're like, okay, I had all of this built up into my head. And I think some of it too comes like women, like we are the doers, right?
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
So we're like, I'm the best. Nobody can do it as good as me. Sometimes I'm like, men are idiots. I'm sorry if you're a man and you're listening to this, but um, and then you're like,
It's the equivalent hold on
oh,
here, because that's the equivalent of, like, men saying women are emotional. Like, men are idiots is the same thing as them saying that we're emotional. So I think, like, hey, we have an even playing field here, right?
we'll agree to disagree.
Like, come on.
I love men. Don't get me
No,
wrong. Love my
same.
husband, but it's like the where's the milk thing, right? Like this
Totally.
is why we behave the way we behave. Is like it's 6 o'clock in the morning. You're looking in the refrigerator. The milk is right there on the left-hand side where I said it was, and you're telling me it does not exist and it's not in the refrigerator, making me question myself and feel like I'm crazy. And this is why women feel like we have to do it all, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
The amount of people nodding their head and saying, "Mhm," and being like, "Yes, find the freaking milk," like, is I can feel it. I can feel it right now.
yes. So maybe I should reframe that. It's not that they're not as smart as us, even though
Yeah.
I still think women are smarter. Um,
I
I'm
love the
kidding.
disclaimers.
It's like uh, some of the things that they do make
Yeah.
us feel like
Mhm.
we're the emotional ones, but also make us feel like we have to do everything. And we
Yeah.
really don't, because guess what? If they can't find the milk and you're gone and you go on a girls trip, they'll figure out how to get in the car and drive to the store and get another thing of milk for the kids. Your kids aren't
Yeah.
going to starve,
Yeah.
right?
But it's funny because that's a challenge in and of itself, right? Is because we tell ourselves the story like, "This house can't run without me. I do it the
Mhm.
best." But w what I would love to do is set up some hidden cameras to see if my husband actually says out loud, "Where is this and where is that?" when I'm not here, or if he just finds it, you know? Wouldn't that be a fun episode? That would be a fun episode. But
You should
that's the
do
thing
it.
though, the point is that where can we challenge ourselves to go, is that a story that we're creating in our mind so that
Mhm.
it can protect an identity that we've built around it and then behavior that comes with it?
Yeah.
Because that's what it
Yep.
is, right? It's breaking that cycle. So is there anything that so far in you, like, because I've seen you take a lot of action. Like, I feel like all of us are in the council that are like, hey, we're
Mhm.
going to do this thing. It's happening. That's another benefit of being in a mastermind is the accountability that comes with it. Is there anything that's like surprised you about the healing process?
Oh man. Um Surprised me.
Mhm.
I'm okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you'd say surprised. I guess you could say surprised. So it's funny as it is. I believe in spirits and all of the things, like all
Yes.
of the things, but I've never been into woo-woo stuff.
Mm.
So going and doing these exercises with my fellow women, um, we did the breath work on the floor, and it was almost like hypnosis. I feel like it was like being in a trance,
Yeah.
and not being able to move your hands. And you're doing these breathing exercises, and all of this stuff is bubbling to the surface. It surprised me how much I liked it,
Mm,
how much better I felt,
mhm.
because I thought for sure, like, no joke, so just to kinda set the stage for everybody who's listening, like, we went into this breathwork class, and there's no phones, nothing allowed in there, and we have our own mats, and they walk you through this exercise, and they're teaching you how to breathe, and they're describing this beautiful flock of geese flying in a V, and they start, counting, and we're going through this, and I'm thinking to myself, because again, all the lies I've told myself over the years, I'm thinking, "Boy, this is stupid. This is not gonna work on me. I don't even as soon as they start going with this, I'm just gonna drift off and think about something else," right? Like, totally. And then the other part of me that's, like, in the council is like, "You're paying to be here. All these women have sacrificed their time. Like, just be open. Just
Yeah.
try to be open." But still in the back of my mind thinking, "This is not gonna work on me. I'm too good for this." And sure enough, it worked on me. And I was like frozen with like the lobster hands and the breathing. And I wasn't like I wasn't crying
Yeah.
audibly, but my eyes were just
Oh.
covered in tears, like just streaming down my face. And I felt like I was gonna have a like an anxiety attack. But there
Mm,
was no rhyme to reason, right? And it was a
yeah.
safe space. And after that, I was very surprised at how my body resonated with that, and I was like, "Maybe I need more of this in my life," you
Mhm.
know? And and the crying, like, I was always taught, like, you like, you don't cry unless you have something to cry about, right?
Mhm.
And after doing these classes and sitting in these rooms with, the healing couple and Tracy Litt and all of you, I have changed the way I dress my children now because I
Mm,
don't wanna tell them, "Why are you crying?"
yeah. That's
So,
powerful.
that surprised me a lot. I
Mhm.
think it made me a little bit softer.
Have you gotten any feedback from your husband or your kids, like, "Mom," like, in this short amount of time? Because 'Cause we've only been back so this experience that Jennifer just told you about, we did this literally what's today? Today's, like, less than a week ag it was a week and a half ago that we did this.
Mhm.
Okay, so not a lot of time has passed from that experience to now you and I having this discussion. Have you gotten any feedback from your kids or your husband that, like, you're different, you're calmer or anything like that?
Yes, well, my husband said that he can tell a difference in me just since I started the council. Not
Mm,
not even since just last
the
week,
retreat,
just
yeah,
in general, having this group of women and being on the calls and being accountable. He said he's seen me taken more action than I have in a long time, and I seem to be excited.
yeah.
Um, and my kids, they think I might be just a little cuckoo, um, because not only, like, with the breath work and all the things, it's opened up my mind to other things, like, with energy
Yeah,
and human design, and so I've been kind of digging into that online and just out of curiosity,
mhm,
and, um something I shared with our group the other day is like, uh, I heard this song because one of our friends on the council, Jenna,
yeah,
she does like business coaching through energy and all of, strategy too, but like she has like all of the woo woo, I would say.
yeah,
And just comes from her aura, right? And so she's had these songs on her reels, and I listened to one of them, and it's an affirmation song. And so I put it into my, playlist, and now it built me this whole playlist on Spotify around the one song I heard on her reel.
yeah.
And so in the morning, I use that now to get ready for the day because it's all positive vibes. I never would have seen myself being in this place. Um, and now my kids are listening to it. And now my kids know
Mhm,
the words. And now they're repeating the affirmations. And it's just interesting to see, like, the changes in kind of just in our daily routine. So just
yeah,
taking small implementations, like listening instead of in the morning listening to the top 40 or whatever the radio station is. We listen to those songs, which are all very
Mhm.
positive. And then implementing the meal delivery. So now, from 5 to 7, we're not 5 to 7 or 5 to 8, we're not stuck in the kitchen cooking and cleaning on 3 days. So they've noticed a definite change. Um, and they do talk about it to me.
Mhm.
And I still question myself because everything is new, but, like, my kids were asking me about crystals the other day, and
Yeah.
my husband's like, "You really I don't know what's going on." But he's like, "Can you just slow it down? Like, can maybe just do one thing and then give it g let break us in easily," is essentially what
Yeah.
he's saying.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I joined the
Mhm.
council, and you ladies were the ones that told me with overwhelming support, like, "Do your podcast. Do your haunted
Yeah.
podcast. You should do it." Like, I've been
Yep.
sitting on the bench for 6 years with this
Oh, so great.
everything ready to go, and I never did it because of fear. And then I get into this group and so much support, and I do it. And then from there, I'm doing all of these other things like the crystals and the energy and the human design. And my husband's like, and the affirmations. And my husband's like, I think my wife has been abducted. Like, I think we're in cocoon or something.
Okay, but have you? Because I know I had you do the Stella app, right? And
Yes.
did you and so you've been have you added your kids or your husband in yet to the compatibility one? Because you can read about them.
Not yet. So my
Because
husband,
maybe if you do that and be like, "Read this," he might be like,
yes,
"How does this thing know about me?"
I'm going to. I tried to add him yesterday, and to my surprise, his mother, who is super crunchy, by the way,
Ooh.
did not know his birth time.
Oh,
Just putting that
okay.
out there.
Gonna have to find that birth certificate.
Yeah, I told her, I was like, "Hey," 'cause they had a home birth, and,
Oh,
she's like, "I think it's this time," but I said, "I have to have the exact time." And she's like, "Why?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying to do this human design thing," and she goes, "Oh, I kinda figured that's something you were doing."
I love it. Okay,
So
so I wanna go back to the breath work a little bit because, your inner dialogue was like, "Will this even work on me? What is this? This
mhm,
is dumb." And I feel like so many people can relate to that, and they're scared because then they hear the things like, "My hands were frozen and tears were falling down,"
yeah.
and it makes me sad because then people don't wanna do it because they talk themselves out of it. They're like, they don't wanna do that. So, what would you say to somebody who's like kind of like you, like noticing these things and wanting to make a change, but maybe is on the fence because they're scared of
Mhm.
doing an experience like that. What would you say to them?
I would say, think of it like a massage, how you feel after going and getting a great massage, right? The
Mm,
first time you ever go get a massage and they're like, you have to get you stripped down to your underwear on the table, you're uncomfortable. Most people
yeah,
are. You're thinking in your head, like, oh, is my butt fat? Or do I smell weird? Did I put deodorant on? What kind of touching are they doing? Right.
yeah.
And then after you get the massage, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. That was actually amazing. And I need one every week. So breath work to me is the same thing. It's
Yeah.
you're not, you're massaging your soul, not your body, but
Mhm.
you're going to be afraid because it's something totally out of your comfort zone. And once you do it though, and you feel that release, you're going to want to do it again.
So good. Such a good analogy. So if you were listening to this and you're like, I want to do this, but I'm scared, go get the massage. That's what we're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
beautiful. Now, okay, so we were talking before we got started and we were recording. We were talking about some of the ghost stuff, right? And what
Hmm.
I have found is that when people start to do inner work, like some of the things that you and I are doing in our mastermind, it sort of unlocks more doors or keys or openings of intuition and some of those gifts that we all innately have. Some of us just are tapped in and aren't. Have you noticed that that has grown stronger since getting home?
Yes. Uh, and I would say I'm not sure if it's just from all of that.
Sure.
I do feel like I have a better sense of people.
Mm,
I don't know. just being in the grocery store, being in the parking lot, um, better understanding of people maybe would be the word. I have had a few funky things happen, this week, and, my husband is the non-believer, which he has been pretty much forced to believe, because if you're a non-believer and you live in a haunted house, chances are it's gonna make you believe. So, my husband, got his feet tickled recently by nobody in the bedroom. Um, so if you guys, so I live in a haunted house, and when we started renovations, all of these things started happening slowly. We've had a medium come. We had somebody from the church like come. It's it's a legit concern. My kids are even on board now. They've just accepted it. Like, we live in a haunted house. It is what it
Yeah.
is. Just that's what it is. And um so my husband the other night woke up in the middle of the night and started screaming into the air. And at first I thought it was like a night terror. Like,
Yeah.
maybe he woke up and didn't realize where he was. And then I realized he was screaming at somebody at the end of the bed, but there was nobody there, and they had tickled his feet. So if you're listening to this and you're afraid of leaving your feet out of the covers, there's a good reason.
Keep tucking them in.
Yeah, tuck those feet in. And so, um, just yesterday, I was home alone and I put my phone out so I can focus in my office, and I heard voices, and I'm like, okay. And I go out there and my phone has started playing videos, like reels on Instagram, but it's like interviews. Like, okay, okay. Pick it up, turn it off, go back into my office. And a few minutes later, I hear music, but it's not my Spotify affirmations playlist, and it's not my workout gangster rap playlist. It's heavy metal. And so I go out to the living room, I turn it off. I'm like, I hold my phone up and I'm like, okay, okay, I got the message. Like, you can leave me alone now. I need to do some work. And I put the phone back down and went back in my office, and nothing else happened. But um, I have felt like, since also
Yeah.
opening the door to this and go ahead and doing the podcast and talking to more people about it in person, it's definitely kicked off a little bit more activity in my home.
Yeah. So let's go back a little bit. And because, this has been something you've been wanting to do for 5 years. You've
Hmm.
had these experiences before this house as well. And
Yeah.
so kind of walk us through the journey of getting to the start. I'm starting the podcast.
I grew up in a house where somebody had died. And
Mhm.
so when I was younger, I always knew there was something there. The things I saw and I experienced, and I was afraid, as a child, to be made fun of. It was not very acceptable when I was growing up in, like, the '80s and '90s.
Mm.
It's a lot more I feel like it's a lot people are more open now because we've seen
Yeah,
so many things, right?
totally.
Um, but as a kid, I was always afraid. I was even afraid to watch scary movies because I
Mhm.
knew that stuff existed.
Yeah, same.
And right? Like,
Yeah. Like,
I
yeah, like The
just
Exorcist and like the no. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, because I knew this is not
To
a
this day
movie.
to this day, I still won't watch scary movies because you can tap into different energies, I think.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
I 100% believe that. And so I just tried to ignore it the best I could as a kid and never really talked about it. I would bring it up to my mom once in a while, but she just she was busy and worked and didn't really believe in that stuff too much. And
Yeah.
so, we would have occurrences at our house where it would sound like somebody's in our attic walking back and forth all night long, to the point
Wow.
where she called the police, but still wrote it off as like birds or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
um,
Night
so
birds,
I,
right?
yeah. And then when I got into real estate, I started showing these houses, and I would go into these houses and get the creepiest vibes. I mean, just pulling
Oh,
into the driveway, I would be like, "I don't wanna go inside." But can't tell that to people that you're showing homes to,
yeah.
especially if you don't know them very well. They're gonna think you're nuts, you know? So, I would show these homes and weird stuff would happen. Sometimes I would come home and feel like I had that energy still on me.
Oh,
Um, and so I am a huge believer in, like, even if it's not necessarily like a ghost or an entity, homes hold energy
yeah.
and they retain all of that. And so if you're open to those feelings, sometimes it can attach to you. And
Oh,
I've sold houses that people that have owned them like simultaneously one after the other every 2 to 3 years have ended up divorced. And I really feel like it's because
the
the
energy's
home
not.
is holds all that bad juju.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, so in real estate, I've had friends and clients who I've sold to where we have seen homes where they felt the same thing I did. And they were like,
Oh,
no, thanks. And I even had a client, after they bought the house, weird things started happening. And when they ripped up all the carpets, there were like uh, the upside down pentagrams drawn on
oh,
the subfloor, like
oh,
weird stuff like that. So for the last, since I don't know, 12 years, the last 12, 13 years I've been doing real estate, I have went into homes and I've had these experiences, felt these things, and I've just always been afraid to talk about it because I didn't want to be the weirdo, the ghost girl. I didn't want to alienate myself away from
yeah.
business. And but it was something I've always been attracted to. Like it lights me up. I get super excited. Like
Yeah.
when I go,
And it's almost like a superpower for you because you
y-
can help guide people to an energetically pleasing home,
mhm,
right? Because
yeah,
because you're open to it. And so you might be able to see something that they can't because they're closed to it. So it's like a
yeah.
superpower, my girl.
I think so too. But, it's like one of those things where you're like, I don't want to be the outcast. We live in a small town. I don't want to be the weirdo. And I don't want people, and I have a lot of clients like who are very religious and I'm very spiritual, but they are like, church 3 times a week and read their Bible every morning, and I was really afraid that, and they're the best people. They're like
Yeah.
my really good A+ clients, and I was really afraid that it would freak them out if they heard, "Oh, Jen's got a haunted podcast." Because a lot of times there's like this misconception out there that if something's haunted, it's automatically the devil or like it,
Yeah.
right? There's like a lot of misnomers out there. Like, um, I had a priest say, psychics are from the devil realm, right? From Satan. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me because guardian angels do the same thing as psychics do. And, like,
Well, I think of it like this. So, because I've heard the same thing. I think of it as there's light and there's dark. God is
hmm,
light, devil is dark. And there's light energy and there's dark energy. And you
yep,
can choose which one you're open to. So sure,
yep,
there might be people who are in the dark energy and they're part of the devil realm, let's just call it for simplicity. But then there's light workers. And you can be a light worker and still kind of see this, but be able to push it off and not be open to it.
exactly. Yes, exactly. So kind of diving into all of that, I was like, they're going to think what they're going to think. But the people that know me, they know, like, yeah, my favorite color is black and I like
Yeah.
black fingernail polish, but I am full of light.
You are full of
So,
light. I can attest to this. Yes. Full of light. Well, and like, okay, so I'll just share a story. And I think I told you this when we first met through the council. So, because I lived in a haunted house too, but it was good energy. It was a little kid. And I, same thing, like thought it was weird and I didn't know, but exact same thing as you. Like, I don't want to do the scary movies or the haunted movie, like the traditional, like what we think haunted, the, quote unquote haunted. And but it's real, it's there.
yeah.
And when you feel those weird chills, like some people just brush it off, right?
Mhm.
It's little communications, and that's what energy is. It's a communication option. and people just
Yeah.
brush it off, and they're like, I don't wanna go there."
Yep.
But for you, and like that's your calling, it's one of your gifts, right? So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about, because since, we were talking before this, and since starting your podcast, you were sharing you've actually built more community, more relationships. So share a little bit about how leaning into your gifts and leaning into something that excites you and is aligned for you has actually unlocked doors and not been the thing that kept you from doing this for 5 years.
Yes. So it started simple as picking out paint colors. I went to the hardware store and gonna paint my podcast studio. You can see it's like really dark burgundy. And the guy behind the counter, I see him all the time. And he's like, I gotta ask you, like, what are, because I'm in there all the time. And I'm a realtor and I pick out paint for
Yeah.
people. And he's like, but I gotta ask you, this is not, this is a weird color. And I said, well, it's for my podcast studio. And he's like, okay, well, what's your podcast about? And I was like, it's The Haunted Realtor. And he goes, you believe in ghosts? I'm like, yeah.
Yes, I do. Very much.
And he's like, well, guess what? He's like, man, I should introduce you to my aunt and uncle. They live in a haunted house. And then he starts telling me the whole story while I'm there.
Yeah,
And I'm like, okay, this is a good sign. Like somebody who I talk to all the time, just in passing. And I would never would have guessed him to be a believer, if that makes sense.
sure.
Just, you know how people just put off
Yeah,
certain things, right?
and
So,
then you're surprised by it.
um,
Totally.
yeah, so he's like, "Okay, make sure you send it to me as soon as you launch it." And he's listening to my podcast, and he said, "If you ever wanna go to Massachusetts, I'll get in touch with them and you can go stay in their house." Like, it it's wild, and so over the last, I just started my podcast, the 1st week of February,
Yeah,
and I keep meeting people in random places who I never normally, I would have been afraid to talk to them about it. Right?
sure.
I would have been afraid of that judgment, and now because I'm just like, "This is what I do, and this is who I am, and it's okay, I've embraced being the down weirdo," it's like, now I have people talk to me about it, and they're excited, and
Mhm.
so we have something to share. We may have nothing else in common, but we have ghosts in common, and that's kinda cool.
Yeah,
So, um, just today, I went for training. It's like realtor training, right? These
yeah,
mandatory fun classes we have to take. And the guy I sat next to is, um, he's a realtor and he's been on my Instagram and he's like, oh, I just want to talk to you. Like, how do you get on there and you're on your stories and this and that? And he's like, how are you getting so comfortable? I was like,
yeah.
oh, I said, do you know that I started a podcast? And he's like, really? And I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. When I tell people it's about being haunted, I'm waiting for them to be like gasp and be like appalled, but
Sure.
it's the opposite.
Mhm.
He's like, "Oh my gosh," he's like, "I just bought a haunted house." And then he tells me the story about his haunted house and the kid that
Mhm.
died in it and that he wants to do ghost tours in our town.
Wow.
And yeah, so and this was just
Sounds like a
today. So
collab. Yeah.
yeah, so I feel like because instead of pushing it down and just beating it down inside myself and trying to hide it, now that I've embraced it,
Yeah.
it's a tool for attracting. Like people, if you're excited about something and other people are excited about that, then it just grows, right? So it's like what I thought was going to be kind of I don't know, a bad, Achilles heel type thing has actually turned into the opposite. It's my way to connect with people where I'm not great at small talk. And
Yeah.
so this is my small talk, like,
Sure.
right? So I feel like it's turned into a great tool for me. It's also opened my eyes to kind of looking past some of my own prejudgments when I meet people.
Mhm.
Because I've been wildly surprised and delighted.
Sure. Well, and what a gift that is too, right? So
Mhm.
someone who's maybe listening to this and have been putting off doing the thing because they're scared of what people are going to think or how they're going to be judged and all of that. That's almost a story that we tell ourselves to stay complacent and to not do
Mhm.
it because our ego doesn't want to experience the change. So, just some encouragement from Jennifer because and it may not pan out perfectly like it has for you, right? But that's okay. You're just taking the action and doing the thing. And I think there's so much power in that. And especially, I love that you said it's made you start to question and challenge your own prejudgments about people because we're
Yeah.
human. We're conditioned to do that depending on how we were raised and things that we experienced. It happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you're an expert in Pinehurst, and
Mhm.
that area has a lot of history. Beautiful, gorgeous, can't wait to come visit. I wanna go golfing. But do you think that the older homes carry, more energy? There's been more life that's lived in them. Like, do you think that this is something that is really, really popular in that area, or do you think it's everywhere? Yeah.
As and I could be wrong, but I feel like, golf over foreshadows everything here. So that's what people talk about all the time.
Yeah.
We have a l we I mean, we have crazy amount of historic homes, and I tour them.
Yeah.
There are some places like the Weymouth Center in Southern Pines that are haunted. Um, there's something I'm gonna be looking into for at the Carolina Resort. I've heard that there is one of their little villas outside somebody had died in and apparently may be haunted.
Uh-huh.
But what I would like to do is I've been putting feelers out to try to talk to more people locally about the places that are haunted, and then I wanna expand that. So eventually,
Sure.
I could see, like, traveling to other places and interviewing
Yeah.
people on their stories and visiting their houses. Um, hopefully, as the more I reach out and actually have the small talk with my community, the more places I can find. Because again, it might be something like people are afraid
I
to
just wonder
tell
if they,
you.
like yeah, or if they, like I'd be curious to see, like, a study across the US, like, just starting with us to see if they congregate in certain areas, and if there's, patterns as to why, because when you look at really historic places that have lived a lot of life in the homes, they're older homes, and there's been, decades, hundreds of years even,
Yeah.
that people have lived there, it makes sense that
That
there would
is
be
a
more
really
energy.
good yeah, that is a really good way to
You know what I
consider
mean?
that.
Like Arizona, for example, where I live, especially in like the East Valley, it's all new. Like the cities have been developed over the last 20 to 40 years. And even like Queen Creek, where I am, it's blown up in 5 years. And it's like I live in a new build. Right. So I wonder if there's any patterns to where they kind of congregate. So if
Uh,
you start to see that,
yeah.
let me know.
Yes. Um, I will definitely I'm gonna figure out how if there's a way to track that or maybe because
And even if you just spot some patterns, where people are because I know when we first talked about this, like, I can't wait. I know that you will be traveling, by the way, to go to different places. Like, I see you being somebody that they're like, you're the person they call to be like, "What do we do with this?" And then you have, like, the resources to help mediate and do the ghostly things.
oh, yay.
But if somebody feels like, what do you think someone should do? Because you're opening it, right? You're opening, like, this superpower of yours to be able to help because especially if you're someone who's not open to it or it scares you like it does for most people, and you just
Mhm.
bought this house that you're so excited about, and now you're like, "I for sure live in a haunted house." What should they do?
Okay, first thing you do is you sage it, but make sure you call a professional first because there are wrong ways to sage a home. I learned that because I tried to sage our house and I did not do it the right way. Um, and then you call a medium. And I think
Mhm.
also just having a real conversation with yourself. Like this, it's okay. It's okay to be scared. I know that a lot of people say opposite. You're not supposed to be scared because it feeds, but I, I'm going to say from what I know, from what I've experienced, I think it's okay to acknowledge if you're scared.
Yeah.
Um, because a lot of times when you are scared, that not acknowledging it is what is going to make you feel like you're crazy, right? So we would rather
Oh,
you just
yeah.
say, you know what, this kind of scared me. I'm gonna call a medium or a spiritual advisor, or you can call somebody from the church. There are lots of resources online now. Um, and if you don't know anybody, I do. Anybody who's listening to this know several mediums and spiritual advisors that you could reach out to. I would say that's the first thing is talking to somebody about it because
Yeah.
it could be coming from a place where you don't have to worry about it being something harmful. Maybe
Right.
it's energy because somebody has, been separated from their loved one and they need help figuring that out. Or
Mhm.
um You know, sometimes I think that when you're in a house and it's had a lot of trauma, you have to have a fresh start. You have
Sure.
to do the saging and do the prayers and do the meditations. Meditating helps a lot. And painting and renovating and getting rid of all that negative energy. Like sometimes I really think even a big renovation can change a whole energetic vibe in a home. You can get rid of
Yeah.
those things. You can chase out the bad because you've brought so much light in.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I just know this is gonna blow up for you, and I know there is somebody listening to this that is like, "Oh my gosh, I have a ghost story," or, "Oh my gosh, I live in a haunted house," or, "I lived in a haunted house," or, "I know somebody that lived in a haunted house." So, we wanna get those stories out, and we wanna get them out on your podcast. So, what is the best way for people to connect with you if they have a story that should be shared on the Haunted Realtor podcast?
Perfect. I'm on Spotify, Haunted Realtor Podcast. You can message me on there, leave a comment. You can look me up on Instagram, Haunted Realtor Podcast, or you can call or text me. My number is 910-596-8967. You can find it everywhere because I'm a realtor. So I'm not
I
afraid to
can hear
give it
people
out.
being like, she's like, "Is she really giving out her phone number?" Like, I can just hear someone saying that as they're listening to this. She's a realtor, it's totally normal.
It is total I know. My husband's like, "What is
Yeah,
wrong with you?" I'm like, "Everybody knows my phone number. I have
they can
signs
find it in a
everywhere.
second.
Like,
Yeah, you
what is
can
the
find it in a
difference?"
second.
Yes.
Okay, I may have interrupted you, so repeat the phone number because I feel like that's kind of fun.
910-596-8967. Text me is the best. No dick pics, please. I get enough of those already on Instagram.
Disclaimer. Yeah, none of that. That's like a whole 'nother podcast episode where we just bring on all the realtors to talk about, like, stop doing that. If you know someone
Yes.
that's doing that, if you've done that, like, enough. Stop doing that to agents.
Yes. Yes. And then, just to put it out there and say, like, no, not everything is haunted, and that's not my job, right? I just want to interview people and hear your stories and your lived experiences, no judgment, because I love it, and I it's interesting to
Yeah.
me, and I think we should share it with the world.
I love that. I love that. This has been such a fun conversation and such a fun episode. So if you know somebody that has a story or you yourself have a story, reach out to Jennifer. Let's get that story out to the world with the podcast. And just remember how we started this. Like we started with growing and healing, and look what it's done even for Jennifer and rolling out this incredible journey for her with the podcast she's been wanting to do for 5 years. And that's the kind of growth that doesn't always come easy, and it can be uncomfortable. And the sooner you do it, the sooner you get to know if the story you're making up in your head is going to be the outcome or going to be a story you told yourself that kept you from living out your greatest gift. So, as always, magic makers, thank you so much for being here. And please like, share, comment on this episode. It goes so much further than you would know. And I will see you on the next episode. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate you. Love you.